Hello, this is Ollie's Movie Madness, and I'm here to do a movie review of Fantastic Four First Steps. Now, when this film was announced, I was not looking forward to it, mainly because the trailers didn't interest me, and Shia Ball as the Silver Surfer was, I don't know what it was, there was something about the CGI and her voice that looked and sounded really bad. But after I heard all this positive reviews that this film has been receiving, I was like, maybe it's not that bad. So I went to go see this movie, and this is one of the best Fantastic Four films. And I think I like this better than Superman. I think I do. The premise of this Fantastic Four film is amazing because there's no origin story. You have the team, and they've been the Fantastic Four for 3 years, and everything is doing okay. Everything is perfect until they see Shia Ball, aka the Silver Surfer, and she says, "My herald is coming. You will all perish." So the Fantastic Four decide to go to outer space to meet this heroine, and they find out it's this ancient celestial god named Galactus, and he makes a deal with the Fantastic Four saying, "Bring me your child and nothing will go bad. Your planet will be safe." But Sue refuses, so Galactus decides to send a course to Earth to kill everyone and kill Franklin Richards. So it's up to the Fantastic Four to take down Galactus and save the world. And it's a pretty simple plot. It's really interesting. And something I like about this Fantastic Four film is that it gets most things right. It gets a lot of stuff right that the previous Fantastic Four films got wrong. But now let's talk about the performances, which they're all really good. Now, some of the performances from the 2000s films are a little bit better, but I thought this cast was amazing. Maxwell Lord, aka Pedro Pascal, plays Reed Richards, and I was suspicious because of his casting choice, but after watching the film, he was tremendous as Mr. Fantastic. He got everything down to a T. Reed Richards is really intelligent. He goes inside his head a lot. Like, he gets addicted of, doing his science, and Sue has to kind of tell him to, pull back and go back into reality. I thought they handled Mr. Fantastic's character really well. Some of my favorite moments include the scene where they first meet Galactus. That was, really amazing. That was, tremendous. It's one of my favorite moments of the entire film, and him bonding with Herbie was amazing. It was really fun to see them, bond throughout the film. Vanessa Kirby plays Sue Storm / Invisible Woman, and I'll say she's better than the Jessica Alba one, because she wasn't bad in those Fantastic Four movies, but she was just kind of dull. But Vanessa Kirby is better. They give her a personality. She's pregnant with her son. And just that scene alone of her giving birth in outer space while the Silver Surfer is chasing them, really dark. It's probably one of the darkest moments of the entire film. Because, again, she had to give birth while the Silver Surfer is trying to kill them. And it's one of my favorite moments of the entire film. Joseph Quinn, plays, the Human Torch. I thought he did a glorious job with his performance. Now, in terms of being funny, he had funny moments, but I think the Chris Evans version is better because he is a lot more funnier. But I'll say, unlike the one from the 2015 movie, I feel like this one had a personality, and there were moments where he did mimic, Chris Evans' interpretation of the Human Torch. One of my favorite moments in the film is where he's trying to flirt with Shia Ball, and she says no, and then the thing goes "Did you?" So she rejected you, and he says yes, and I thought that was really funny. And the whole thing of him trying to sacrifice himself, and then the Silver Surfer does it for him. That was amazing and really fun to watch. Abon Moss voiced the Thing, and I think out of the four main characters, he was my least favorite. He wasn't bad, but I think Michael Chiklis just had a better voice, and I think the design was better. I did get used to the beard, though, because in the trailer it looked really bad, but when you watching the actual movie, it doesn't look that bad. I did like the scene where he was talking to Herbie, and the scene where he says it's clobbering time, he punches Galactus in the face. That was amazing. That was an awesome sequence in the final battle. But again, I think Michael Chiklis just had a better voice, and something that this Thing, pun intended, he's not tragic. That's my problem with him. He just goes along with him being this rock monster. Well, in the original 2000s films, he hated it. He viewed himself as ugly. He viewed himself as a freak. I think the Michael Chiklis one just a little bit better, but Bob Moss was pretty fun to watch. Now we're talking about the things I wasn't looking forward to. And that's Shower Ball, aka the Silver Surfer. But I gotta be honest, I really liked her. Now, yes, Lawrence Fishburne, way better interpretation of the character, way better voice. But I thought Julia Garner did a glorious job with her performance. You know, she starts out menacing, but then the movie peels back a lot of layers to her character. You found out that she did want to be Galactus' servant because she lost her daughter. She was threatened to be killed along with her daughter if she didn't obey Galactus' rules. And that scene alone of her telling the Fantastic Four her backstory was amazing. And the CGI on her and the voice filter, I thought it was going to be really stupid because of the trailer, but I loved it. I loved the Silver Surfer in this movie. Again, Lawrence Fishburne, better written. I think his redemption arc was a little bit better than the Shala Ball version, but I thought this one was fun. I thought she was entertaining. I will say she's up there with Wen Wu from Shang-Chi as one of my favorite villains in the MCU, or I guess anti-hero in the MCU, because Wen Wu briefly had a change of heart in the third act of Shang-Chi. Now we're talking about the thing I was really looking forward to, and pretty much the only thing I was actually looking forward to. How was Galactus? Well, he was badass. He was threatening. Ralph Innocent does a glorious job. My favorite line is where he goes up to, he tells the Fantastic Four, clever Bugsy, he's trying to kill them. That scene of him trying to kill Franklin Richards, very brutal. I would love to see Ralph Innocent come back as Galactus. I think Galactus is probably my new favorite villain in the MCU. He's not as good as Thanos, but in terms of modern MCU villains, he was amazing. I like how the battle armor is kind of a blackish purple color. It's dark purple, and I thought that was amazing. It looked really awesome. Galactus was a better villain than Kang. I felt like Galactus should have been the main villain. And I love the line where he says, I used to be like you, small. I used to be human like you, living on Earth. And then he said, I need to cure my dying hunger. And his origin, we don't get an origin, but for that monologue he said to the Fantastic Four was amazing. It was really awesome. So, in conclusion, I really like this film. I love the storyline. I love the cast. This is what the original Fantastic Four film should have been. Comic book accurate and really fun. I love the Silver Surfer. I love Galactus. He is my favorite part of the entire movie. I highly recommend you watch this film. You will not be disappointed. And this is one of my favorite comic book films of the entire year. So I give Fantastic Four First Steps a 10 out of 10. So that is my movie review of Fantastic Four First Steps. Hope you guys enjoyed.